Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Paul is here with me as well, and we are going to be showing you guys basically what happened when we opened up our pre-release kits for Core Set 2021. We basically did these and basically did it as like a mock, like, well, not like mock, but like we opened them, didn't really show each other kind of like what we got, or we did it as if like we truthfully were at a pre-release event. We'd be like, oh, I opened up this really cool thing, but we didn't share like our decks or anything like that, and we played against each other. Paul won both games, and basically we just kind of wanted to show you guys basically what we did. So I wanted to first start out with my deck. I decided to go green and red, and basically I've never done a video like this before, but basically I'm going to go through like my whole pool, like what I did, why did I make the decisions I did, what did my deck look like, and all that kind of stuff. So I did an even split of both of these. It's just what I personally prefer. I feel like sometimes if I go more one or the other, I never have enough of that one color, and my split was actually pretty even. I think I had a little bit more red, I think, than green, but my green was more in my early game. So anyways, I also opened up a Fable Passage, which was really, really exciting because, one, it was great to have in like the event, but also just to have like outside of it. I was really hyped to open that. And then basically running through the deck. So at my 1 mana slot, I had a Silent Dart. This card is fine. It's kind of a lot of mana, but it is also at the common slot, so you can definitely get away with it pretty easily. I'm actually gonna move you guys down just a little bit. Okay. And then let's talk about 2 mana slot. So I ran 2 of Drowsing Tyrandrum. This card is really strong. For it being a common, for a 2 mana 3/3 with Defender is extremely good, and if you do have this ability, it can attack. I thought this card was great.
I think it's okay. If you have a lot of heavier creatures or a way to buff them, they're okay. The problem is you can't be aggressive with them.
You can't, but for blocking and for early game, I think this is a great card. I have one of Ignis Cur. This card was great. You can pump this card and do quite a bit of damage with this card.
In Limited especially, I think pump cards like this are very good.
They put pressure early
game.
game.
Can synergize really well with other cards.
They put pressure on your opponent early game. I did a massive amount of damage with this card. I really enjoyed it. I had 2, and funny actually, they're both the extended border. Like, what are the odds? Of Chandra's Magmut. I actually didn't get the chance to draw this card, I don't believe. But this card was definitely good. I like it. You can either attack or block with it, or you can just ping.
Yep, I think it's a solid card.
The next card we have is Hobble Fiend. This card was fine. It was fine. I don't know if I really have a whole lot to say about it. Like, it was a fine card.
It gets around removal kind of things. For something else, get a little...
This was a body. Like, this card was a body. Kind of similarly was Pride Malkin. This card I genuinely believe was a good card, but I never drew it, or I had it in my hand and I always had to, like,
in my initial
discard it.
version of my deck before I realized I missed a pack, I was going to run red-green, and I have run 2 of those in mine.
It's definitely good, even if you don't have a lot of +1/+1 counters on your things, just giving something +1/+1 permanently and trample is really good. Then I have Truffle Snout. I love this card. I just think it's really cute. It's just a good... I love the versatility. It's cute. Mm-hmm. This card I was kind of bummed that I didn't ever cast. Again, these games both were very quick, and you're going to see with Paul's deck why I stood no chance. But Sporewed Weaver, I think this card is great. I don't necessarily know how much this is applicable, but it has 4 toughness, which makes me think this will like be a great blocker.
Oh, it is. I mean, and also it's every time it's dealt damage, it does it. So you over time, if they're swing with a 1/1 or something like that, so you
can... and it gets people so they don't want to swing at you, and you can build up your board. I think this card's a really good limited card. I just never personally drew it. Okay, then we have your classic removal Soul Seer. You know, it only does damage to creatures or planeswalkers, but it's 3 mana for that. I like that it loses the Indestructible, which definitely can be relevant.
Oh, yes.
Good
absolutely.
removal card. 2, I love this card, Llanowar Visionary. This is Llanowar Elves and Elvish Visionary all in one, and I love the name ties to that. Like, I just think this is, like, a great synergistic card for those reasons. There's not a whole lot to say. It's a good card. Then we have, Anokul... I don't know how to say that, Ogre. Funny story about this, I actually used to be very wary of running cards like this in Limited, and I've changed my mind a lot, because people don't want to spend removing your vanilla 3 mana 4/2, like, people don't want to spend mana, but this card's just annoying. It makes attacking and blocking extremely difficult for your opponent. It's just a very strong body.
Especially if, because you had the cat, you can give it a +1/+1 and trample, now you still have a 5/3 with trample, which is...
For 3 mana? Like, that's ridiculous. Okay, then we have Fungal Rebirth. This was kind of a more filler card. I actually do think this card is actually pretty strong, to be honest. When I did cast it, I was actually impressed by how good this card was. You do return target permanent, so you are limited in there, but it's an instant, so this triggered with, some of my prowess, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if a creature dies, you get 2 Saprolings for 3 mana. Like, this is a good...
Yep.
This is a good
Especially
instant.
limited things are gonna die.
Absolutely. You get back your big, beefy dude. Okay, then we have, Turret Ogre. When this enters the battlefield, if you control another creature's power 4 or greater, it deals 2 damage. You know, it's cute. Again, it kind of does its thing, but it's got reach.
Yeah, it's a good blocker.
It's a good body.
You can be aggressive with it, too.
Absolutely. And then we have, Burr First Oak. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +2/+2. I think this is a great card.
Oh, that's an
This is a
absolutely great card.
great uncommon. Very strong.
If I had pulled it, I would have probably more likely been gone green.
100%. Yeah, Paul's pool's ridiculous. We're gonna get there.
I did not pull one of those.
Okay, this card, very good. Goblin Wizardry. I love cards like this. I love the, like, instant put dudes out on the field. They got prowess, which, like, a lot of this card looks very basic, but given that has that added ability of prowess, just makes this card incredibly strong. Love it. Almost done. So then we have an Ornery Dialos, I don't know how to say that. This is a great card. Great common. 2/2 for Death Touch for 4. Sounds like a lot, but when you attacks, if you have a creature with 4 or greater, it gets +2/+2. This is an awesome card. Very strong common. Then we have Gnarled Sage. I personally didn't really use this ability, this Lekin ability, but that's not, to me, relevant. It's a 5-mana 4/4 reach.
Yeah.
I needed a big body. This fit the bill. Cool. Then we have a Chandra. This was actually in my first pack, and then my pool would just went downhill from there, except for the Fabled Passage.
I think that was the second pack, too, so...
It was the first pack. This was the first pack. Oh, the Fabled Passage I don't remember, but, yeah, Chandra. And then, of course, we had to run Volcanic Geyser. Like, we just had to run this card. Yeah. So that was my deck, and, you know, it was okay.
I think you would have done okay in the preliminaries. You probably would have gotten 2/2.
2/2, yeah. I think this was like a 2/2 deck, and I'm gonna walk through and kind of show you guys what else was in my pool that was notable. But Paul's gonna show you his deck, and you guys are gonna see the ridiculous things. So start with your mana base, please.
I ran 5 islands, 6 swamps, and 6 mountains. So yes, I went Grixis. Starting from my 1 CMC, I had Vampiric Rite, or Village Rites, not Vampiric Rites. Sacrifice creature, draw 2 cards. That's a solid 1 mana card. I have an Opt, another solid 1 mana card.
Great card.
Last at 1, I had Fear of the Bitten. Not bad. Just give something +2/+2, make it attack, you know. Then at 2 mana, I had a Feared Imp. I don't think I ever drew that, but it's a flying
card.
1 and can give it Death Touch. Flash Blocker, this is not bad. Also, any pump spell creature I think is great and limited because you end up sometimes with lots of mana with nothing to do. Equipment, it's not terrible.
Not a huge fan.
It's a, you know, +2/+2 to a creature when it first ones, and so it's okay. I needed a slot more than anything. I put a Chandra's Pyroling in here. I didn't have a whole lot of non-combat damage, but it's a 1/3 for 2. I figure a decent chump block. Then for a removal, I had a
Great card.
Scorching Dragonfire, deal 3 damage, and exiles it. And I can
Very
also hit
good
a
card.
Planeswalker, so this is quite useful. This is more of a prevent them from blocking my creatures.
I would have personally sideboarded this card over mainboarding it.
Yeah, I
Actually, the second
the
ability,
creatures without flying can't
yeah,
block this turn,
okay.
and so I
fine to
can
me.
let me to go in and swing or draw a lot of cards with creatures, so because they can't be blocked. Then I ran 3 of these Library Larcenists. Whenever they attack, they can't draw, so I can get in 3 damage with that last card, or I still get to draw 3 cards, which is really useful, which you'll see later. I also got
Great card. Awesome
Subira,
card.
that first ability can't block my creatures with power 2 or less, which is a good chunk of my creatures, unfortunately. But they can't block, and then the last ability, You get to draw a card whenever any of those creatures deal damage. Real powerful.
Great card.
Especially if you have no cards in your hand. Next, I ran 2 Turret Ogres.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever got more than one of them out, but then I ran another removal for Turn to Slag. 5 damage to a creature. It's a little mana pricey for it, but if they're running equipment in a limited deck, which isn't a terrible...
I would have liked to have seen this card at instant speed.
I
I
agree.
think that would have made this card significantly better, to be honest. Because it's already mana heavy, you know?
I ran 1 Brush Taunter.
Funny card.
Bees. Stuffy Doll, but red
Bees.
and I think slightly better. I ran Bad Deal, Draw 2.
For Paul's main card, which killed me, you'll see why.
Which
This
is the next
was
card on
fine.
my list. But I think this is a solid all-around card. 6 banded, 2 of each, it's not bad. Teferi's Tutelage. This is a great limited
Does
card.
anyone remember playing against
Sphinx's
Sphinx's Tutelage back in, not standard, back in limited? Because I do, and I hated that card.
And now we get to the...
So, hold up. We need to talk about this card for a little bit. You know, and I've said this before many times, so I'm going to sound like a broken record if you've been following my channel, but I am not someone who avidly runs enchantments in limited. Really, or in EDH to begin with. But this card in limited, a house.
Oh, absolutely.
In actual house. This card killed me both games. Hands down, this was the game-winning
yes.
card. This in limited, when you have a 40-card deck, and you start out with 7 cards in your hand, so you have a 33-card deck minimum, and then you draw cards. Obviously, it's like, you have 30 cards.
10 turn clock on turn 3.
This card...
With just your card draw for turn.
Your deck was extremely synergistic with itself. Like,
Yes.
you did a really good job of, like, synergizing your deck
I
together.
put basically 3/4 of my cards in my deck minus lands were something that would draw a card potentially.
Yeah. Very, very, very good card.
So next, I have...
Okay, so this is where it gets dumb. Like, you might
Grim
be
Tutor?
like, this was dumb, but, like, okay.
Grim Tutor, great card. It's a mythic,
You run this
in
card.
colors, you're definitely going to run a tutor.
run this
Especially when you have things like Teferi, the Master of Time.
Can you just show that?
And
okay.
Lily,
So,
Walker of the Dead.
can you please tell the
same
story?
pack.
No,
so,
no. Just tell the story.
Yeah. So I had opened 5 of my packs, started building deck, didn't realize I still had a 6th pack. And I'm like, oh, there's still 1 pack left. And so I open them like, oh, hey, look, it's a...
It's a Teferi, and then it was a Liliana.
Well, you saw the Lily first.
Sorry, it was...
I'm like,
flipped.
oh, hey, look. I show a something, don't remember, a token, a treasure token, and then a Lily. I'm like, oh, this is a great last pack. Slide a little bit further. I'm like, oh, there's also a Teferi.
So it was hilarious. Like, Paul was like, oh man, I have this extra pack, and then shows me this. I was like, oh, okay, good pack, and then Teferi, and we were like, what? So, that was a really cool
Yeah,
pack.
and so ran both of those. Teferi is just absolutely great with it, especially with the
my
tutelage,
God.
because you get to run that +1 every single turn. So that's 4 cards a turn cycle just from that. And then last, I had Discontinuity. I never got to use it because there's never a point. But if for whatever reason on our second game, if I hadn't been able to mill out the rest of her deck, because I was at 1 life, I had like 10 mana on the field at this point. I could have used this on her upkeep to as soon as end the turn so she couldn't combat damage kill me. But
Sure.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so
So yeah, that
now...
was a 4 mythic pre-release pool.
Yeah, so as you can see, Paul's pool is extremely better than mine. That was pretty clear to see. Now, after we did that and showed you guys the decks, we wanted to kind of go through pretty quickly and show you guys what kind of, like, was in our pools and, like, what other cards we had. So, I want to first start talking out with the, rares and mythics that I opened. I think these are actually all rare. So these were the cards that I had opened. 2 of these cards are obviously white. I don't know. I just, like... And you'll see my white, it really wasn't that deep, which is why I ultimately decided, and I think let's first start there, and then we'll talk about her in just a second. So basically, these were literally the only white cards I got. So, like, realistically, this really isn't a lot of cards. And basically, let's just talk about, like, how I got, like, this card, which was, like, my best white card. You know what I mean? Like, I got, like, this, which is a nice body. Like, that's fine if you run 1, but, like, that's it. Like, that's all I got. So it was just, like, this, it didn't make sense for me to even remotely splash white. So, like, that knocked it out. Like, I wasn't going white, and I knew that pretty quickly and then I actually want to, and this was kind of one reason that I kind of wanted to film this video is because I realized actually upon looking at my cards a second time, I think I went the wrong colors, and I kind of want to show you what I was thinking. So I thought my black was like my one of my best colors, but I obviously didn't go black. And now looking at this now, I wish I did. You know, this was a good card. Like, I had this for my removal, which I understand that these are all common, but like these would have been amazing to have. This as like my bomb. You know, Devotee, this is an amazing card. I love this card. You know, like these are good bodies. Like Freebooter is a good thing to have. This card's okay. You know, like another Freebooter. You know, this is like a good you know, poke card. So anyways, I thought my black was pretty good, and to be honest, I wish I had gone black, and that was kind of like, again, realizing after I'm filming this, like, you know, my mistakes. And then honestly, blue I think was really good. So you know, you have like your counter spells, this, you know, your untap spell, this is a good body, you know, this for like a bomb, this is a really solid common, you know, this Frost Breath, this is a really good card. So like, moral of the story is I just wish that I had done something a little bit different. And then I kind of wanted to talk about just like, you know, these were the multicolored cards that I got. She was really good, but I didn't really have anything to make her like go off, so it just didn't make sense for me to play. I mean, like, I guess I could have, but it just wasn't, you know, I feel like I couldn't really use it to its full potential. This card would have been actually pretty good if I had gone these colors, but again, white wasn't good. And then, you know, this card was like fine, so. And then pretty much the only other things really were like the cards that I didn't play in colors / these two artifacts. I could have probably run Meteorite, and then, you know, this artifact wasn't really that good. And then these were just the other cards that I had. This was like a sideboard sort of thing, which didn't end up being relevant. But then these were the other things. So moral of the story is like, I think looking at this now, I think it would have been better if I had actually maybe even gone blue-black. I think, which I know it's like the opposite colors completely. I thought my red was actually pretty good, maybe doing some sort of tricolor situation, but ultimately I think that would have like pushed my deck over the edge, and I think it would have been a lot better and a lot stronger. But that was kind of my thought, is like filming this video, we could kind of get the chance to like realize our mistakes and kind of talk about, you know, if you're going to be doing these limited things, these were cards that we thought were good. So we're going to talk about the rest of Paul's pool now. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I was originally, before, as I said before, I did open my last pack. I was going to go red-green so I could use my timestamp promo. I was going to go red, green, blue.
It's a good card.
Yeah, this is a solid card. Definitely great. I also had in those for rares, I had Primal Might and the Extended Art Cultivate, which are both, I think, decent cards. The Primal Might, you know, give something enough push over to, you know, potentially kill something. And then in green, I had a Titanic Growth, a Runafall, the Pridekin, the Fungal Rebirth, Llanowar Visionary. Like, I had some decent green cards. It was definitely not maybe the best for creatures, but it was definitely some good support cards. And then in red, that I didn't run in the rest of the deck, I had another one of these, a Hobble Fiend, the Ogre, a Sure Strike, and another Hobble Fiend. In that color combination for red, green, blue, I also had an Experimental Overload, which might not have been a terrible thing to throw in, just because I had a bunch of some more instant sorceries in green.
It's a silly card.
Yeah. While we're on gold cards, I had 2 Direfleet Warmongers, but I don't think I really would have gone red-black, because I don't think I had enough.
I think if you are playing these colors, this is an extremely strong card, though.
I mean, I did end up going, what did I do? I went Grixis. So I did end up going red-black, but I didn't feel like this fit very well into that mill strategy that
That's
I was
fair,
going.
but it's a 3-mana 3/3 vanilla that
Yeah.
has that upside, so I think it's a good card. And this card's okay.
I almost ran this, and I probably should have run it, just from the tap, draw, discard.
Yeah, I think this card's fine.
It just, I would have had so much at 3 mana that I would have had to take
Yeah.
something out of a lower curve.
That's
I might
fair.
have taken out the artifact that I had in there.
It also is
the
a
equipment.
blocker, you know, it's a 0/3.
But,
you can block and then activate the ability, so.
For artifacts, these were the only 2 artifacts I pulled that were colorless.
This is a good card. I talked about that in mine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's a removal
They
spell. It
just
costs a
didn't
lot of
really
mana.
fit in my deck.
It costs
Again,
a lot of
going for
mana,
the mill,
but, you know.
that I didn't think I really needed it. My white wasn't awful.
You were actually the same with me. You didn't really have. I was kind of just running through these and
Yeah.
kind of just being like, you know,
I mean,
you just didn't really have a lot of white. Like I literally didn't have a lot of white cards either. There was just no.
I had a feathers,
You know.
or faith feathers.
Yeah, like this card's. Whenever this illustration, yeah, that's like not a bad. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's
you know.
not bad. I get destroyed tap creature, draw a card, like, but I just felt like my
Your white's not that deep. Like literally same as
Yeah.
mine. You didn't have a lot of white cards, and it didn't run that deep. Yeah.
so the blue cards I didn't run because I was going more the mill route. I decided
good card.
this is a great limited
Extremely
card. But again, I'm going the more I want my things to draw me cards. I decided not to run a lot of these.
Cancel. You know your classic removal. Oh, we're keeping this because jellyfish.
I only had one of those, so there was really not a lot of
Hilarious
point.
when that happens.
Another
Yeah.
cancel. I almost ran the riddle form.
Your blue actually, even looking at this, like you had a strong.
Oh, I did
pool
have
of
a very
blue.
strong
Like,
blue
these,
pool.
even these, like Frost Breath has a great card. This is a great card too. Yeah, like your blue, the rest of the blue you didn't run was actually like really good.
Yeah,
so.
and then for the black that I didn't run, get
Solid card.
Get a Saproling, not
know.
bad. Eh.
That card's okay.
I mean, it's the draw card, which is why I considered running it, but again, I didn't. Lifelink is not bad and limited,
It's a fine
so that's
card.
not a bad card to
it's fine
run.
mana, but you know, card's okay.
Again, draw card, draw
Draw
card.
yeah.
But again, I have to sacrifice it.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you gain life, but,
But
that's
I
not-
had no
you were
life
not
gain in the
doing
deck,
that,
so
yeah.
I cut that. Just a vanilla 2/2.
Tavern Swindler, love that card.
This is a weird card.
I love this
Pay
card.
3 life,
Okay.
flip a coin. If you win, effectively you only gain 3 life. So what this I
Dude.
felt like this should have said is flip a coin. If you lose 3 life. If you win, gain 3 life. I don't know why you need to pay 3 life first.
I personally love the flavor of this card so much that
It is-
I'm able to excuse it. I think I love the flavor. I love her. I think she looks like.
It is a good card.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd want to really run this in
No,
limited because it's too risky.
I would not do it.
But
But
it
for
is
a
a
blocker,
flavor
for a
call.
2-mana 2, if you needed a slot,
and
you
then
know.
the final 2
Whatever.
cards.
Another
from
one
the
of those,
pool
yeah.
Are those.
Yeah, so honestly, I think just looking at it, I feel like I had a lot more of the removal, and you had a lot more of the,
Yeah, I think if I didn't
Creatures.
pull so many in color mythics in blue black, I think I would have probably gone red green white or red green blue.
Your blue was extremely strong. I would definitely want to see you play blue. And your black had some solid creatures and, just like some body cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You kind of fell short, I would say, on like the removal a little bit. Like I had a lot more removal. But again, looking at this like objectively, like now I was like, oh, I wish I definitely gone black blue. Like my black blue is in my opinion much better. I think I do this, and this is a flaw that I do, is I get distracted by like the mythic, like the Chandra. I'm like, oh my god, I need to play this. And like someone had kind of expressed to me like that can be like a trap that you fall into, and I definitely think
if
that
if it fits in your theme and it works,
but don't make a deck around one card.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I did, and that was like a flaw. And again, I'm by no means like an expert at limited. I'm not very good at limited. Again, I think I'm making this video to kind of really be more informative and try to become a better Magic player.
And card draw
so.
is always a good option. My weak side was I was a slower deck because I didn't have a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
you
and
didn't
so-
have a lot of your early game. Your
Yeah.
early game was not that good, and I think the best type of deck you can go in limited is a mid-range deck, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's either you got to be super super quick, or you need to play mid. Mid-range is the way to go.
Yeah, mine was
Yeah.
I'm gonna just try and draw out as quick as I can to get to the cards I need.
Yeah, you
and
did.
Then
Your
once
card draw was very good.
and then also my card draw happened to also hurt my opponent by potentially milling cards that they want.
Yes, absolutely.
And so it was like I'm just gonna keep going mill, and
Yeah.
just hope I can outgas them that way and keep answers in my hand.
But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it and like you'd want to see me do these like in the future. I thought this was really fun, again, just to kind of like look at the decks, and we just played to have fun. Obviously we couldn't have gone to the pre-release or anything like that, but this was just kind of a fun video just to kind of like check in and be like, hey, this is what we played, these are changes we would have made. And yeah, hope you guys liked it. Definitely let me know what cards you guys had opened up if you guys did get one of these pre-release kits, which I think are really cool. It's $30. You get a promo, you get six packs. Like, it's fun. They're fun to do, and yeah. But anyways, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.